Chill us with EKSE, Monday to Friday, we keep on learning every day. We keep it real, Monday to Thursdays, entertainment Fridays. Just so you know, it's 5 p.m. we're going live now. Just so you know, till 6, don't touch the dial, go. Just so you know, it's 5 p.m. we're going live now. Just so you know, till 6, don't touch the dial, go. Youth Block of the Year, catch us everywhere. Hashtag line EKSE, kuzofiwa this year. Youth Block of the Year, catch us everywhere. Hashtag line EKSE, kuzofiwa this year.
Yes, a very good evening to you, Mzansi. And yes, we want to welcome you to EKSE Live here on DSTV channel 263. Mafethu, as we all know, Mondays are known as being Blue Mondays, but not this Monday, as we are getting youth all motivated and energized for this week. So, ladies and gents, please make sure Anindao and hop on social media platforms. Mr. Weekend, and also we do have Uma Sandi Mfusi, who will be talking about EP. And yes, I can't wait for that one because Mafethu, we have A-listers in the building. And we do have Ulukolo Tukwana, who is a fitness and aerobics coach. Ozasifundisa a bit of breathing exercises. I hope you are ready because I am. If you are not, Kaulezani, grab your tights, grab everything because we are about to rock. Last but not least, we did go to a movie screening Kamlungu Wami and we are going to have a chat with the lead actress Utumisa. But Nangoku must figure with destination awesomeness and let's start the show.
Yes, it indeed is a Monday, and it is officially the last day of October, right?
Yep.
Here in the studio with you amazing two girls, Kezia Lathan and me, Hlali. So today, you know, guys, we're kicking it off amazing, you know, because it is the end of the month. So we are having a discussion being a trauma in and around the society as well as in the households, how trauma has had an emotional response, is an emotional response to terrible events such as accidents, rapes, natural disasters, and so many things leading to an immediate shock and longer-term reactions as well, such as unpredictable emotions, flashbacks, strained relationships, broken dynamics, and even physical symptoms. But we are not talking alone. We have two very important people right here in the studio with us today.
Yes, of course. And you know what, Kiza, this is not the first time that we're having this conversation on the show today. And I think it's very important that we always come back to this conversation, though, because you can't just speak about trauma on one episode. You have to make sure that it's a continuous conversation that we're driving within our communities. And of course, to help us get into this conversation, we are joined by Dr. Rita, who is from Harmony Cape Town Center, and of course, Lesh Naidu, who is representing the Counseling Hub. Thank you so much for joining us today on the show. How are you doing? We'll start with
I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay. As you said, last day of Mental Health Month. So also just contemplating that.
Yes. And maybe perhaps just to get the conversation started, you know, we've had this discussion before, and we just thought it's so important for us to speak about it again, you know, but there might be some people that are watching the show for the very first time today. How would you best describe trauma?
Well, how the Counseling Hub views trauma is in a vortex, and the other side of that vortex is healing. And we look at those two vortexes in a figure 8 or an infinity sign. And when we get stuck in the middle of that vortex, we're basically not moving naturally. And the trauma is caused by stresses that basically we can't cope with, that we can't challenge with, that we're overwhelmed with.
Wow, I've actually never thought about that, and the way you were just doing, I was like, that is absolutely amazing and mind-boggling at the same time. And for you, Dr. Rita, how would you say, or how would you identify trauma in someone else?
Trauma, like Lesh said, it's the flip side of a coin. If you want to put it the other way, the one is happiness, the one is not. The kind of symptoms of trauma are very similar to the symptoms of depression. And we actually don't realize we're going through it. If we've witnessed or gone through a traumatic event, we think it's just being sad. But there's stages of grief that you've got to work through. There's stages that you have to work through trauma to come up on top of it. You cannot just sit there and, like people say, you know, the old age adage, time will make it better. No, time does not make it better. All it does is that it makes it easier to cope with.
Let's take us through some of the symptoms, as Dr. Rita has mentioned, there are various symptoms that you can spot that, okay, this person might be going, this person is traumatized rather. How do we identify, someone that is traumatized? Or if we are traumatized ourselves, and maybe perhaps we're not really aware.
So that vortex, that figure 8, essentially if you're stuck in the middle of that, between the healing and the trauma vortex, it causes a bodily sensation often. And we're social beings. Other people observe our behavior. And if they view us as pained, constricted, sad, we can identify that. And it comes up in stress in our lives, and it often manifests in different ways, physically, socially. So when you see somebody looking not well, it's sometimes related to something that it hasn't been processed and dealt with, and you're stuck in between and not coping with the trauma vortex.
And with you saying stuck in between, Dr. Rita, would you say that trauma ever goes away?
Can I add a little bit to what Lesh said,
Please.
first of all? The other symptoms that you'll find in trauma, you don't have the motivation to get out of bed in the morning. You just want to lie there, put the blankets over your head, and hope the world will go away. The pattern of your eating will change. The pattern of your sleeping will change. You will get physical symptoms like a constant feeling of something heavy just above your eyes. Okay, your emotions are not regulated. You'll be talking about something pretty unemotional, and all of a sudden there could be one word in what you're talking about that will cause you to start triggering your emotions, and you'll want to cry. So you cannot regulate your emotions and deal rationally with what's happening in that given moment. Okay, so you asked me, can trauma ever go away?
Yeah.
Well, if you're receiving therapy for trauma, the trauma doesn't go away. But number one, you learn things from the trauma. You learn how to cope with future incidents. You learn how to cope with a traumatic event. And remember, all trauma is not experienced by you. It can be experienced vicariously by you. You could watch something happening and it's got nothing to do with you, but it will traumatize you.
Yeah, no, you know what, that was a very heavy conversation.
I know, I'm like, how
and
do
as
I?
we're listening to some of the symptoms, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I might be going through something that is similar to this as well. But of course, we
Exactly.
just want to head over to a quick ad break, and we'll see you guys right after this.